ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲಲ್ಲಿ
Feels really weird, doesn't it? Feels really weird. No, not my life. I mean, my life really feels quite weird. But it feels really weird to have just one game on a Sunday. Like, I actually showed up to the studio at 3 o'clock expecting there to be a game, but there wasn't. So I just cleaned up, and that's why you see everything is shining. Gave Joy a haircut. So he's looking really nice. Gave Lisa a facial, so she's glowing. Yeah. So I've been busy, man. I've been busy. None of those things, of course, were weird. Or at least will not sound as weird as the next 30 minutes will on Voltas FreshAir Coolers presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur, with me, shining Lisa Sthalekar, spiffy Joy Bhattacharya.
Spiffy.
Yeah.
Replacement spiffy. But when you start with feels really weird, every time I wonder, where are you going to go with this?
Yeah, I never know. That's pretty much a question that's asked me every day in my life with everything that I do. And never have an answer, but somehow I stumble on get somewhere. But now the pressure's on you guys, because now you have to make this show like really weird and surreal for everybody. Are you guys up for it?
You just ask us the right questions.
No, I'm just asking.
I was just not going to answer anything. Then it'd be a weird.
That would be weird, right? Like I was just, like for example, I was going to ask you, like, should Rashid Khan play today?
Oh, he can play.
Look, you're going to be working in the PSL. That's not too far from that border. I would be very careful about what I say right now.
There might be words to be had.
Words are not what he should be worried about in that part of the world.
True, actually, good point. Yeah. Therefore, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
That, of course, is going to be Lisa's strategy for today's show, is just to keep her mouth shut, which, I guess is one of the prerequisites of good television. Just sit around and keep her mouth shut. Hello and welcome to Watching Paint Dry. Well, no, it's going to be an exciting game, this one is. Because we deserve it. I want to manifest this joy because I'm good enough. All right, I'm good enough for this. I want an exciting game, Joy.
You're good enough. Are the SRH batters good enough? Please, that's all we want to know.
Yeah, for what kind of excitement? They're saying, what kind of excitement do you want, man? Like, do you want, 280 for one? Or do you want, 33 all out? Like, we can give you, we can give you everything.
Well, the next hurdle they've got to get is under 100, right? They're slowly coming down.
Yeah.
Their numbers. So, 280 odd, then what? 175, 200, then 150. See? So the next one is...
1 second. So basically you're saying like the US stock market. You could have just said that. Everybody knows. Our viewers are very financially literate, right? They know. It's basically... But who's the Trump there? Who's imposing the tariffs that is making their scores come down? Is it their own reputation from last year? It's just what worked so beautifully in season 1? All right, we just replicate it in season 2. And the start was good. First episode, great.
Yeah.
And then 3 duds.
We were talking in yesterday's show about the second-year blues for players, right? They burst onto the scene. No one's seen a lot of it. They bowl this different delivery or they bat or hit into a different area. So maybe everyone's done their homework, whereas mid-season they couldn't adjust. They didn't have the arsenal to kind of combat what Hyderabad were throwing at other teams. Whereas now everyone knows what they're planning to do. So they've figured that out. And then it was like, okay, is the ball moving around a little bit more? Is it swinging more? Because we know any top order, doesn't matter who you are, if the ball's moving around, you can't stand and deliver.
Yeah, true. So second season blues. Now, I know some of the older folk who are watching are expecting me to say Hyderabad blues. Right.
I know.
I'm not going to say it.
You're not going to say it. Of course you're not going to.
I'm not going to say it. Low-hanging fruit. I don't pick it no more. But do you think that SRH will go for that low-hanging fruit thing? By low-hanging fruit, I mean, all right, we're just going to hammer everything. Because the other option, which we've seen from some teams have also lost their big batters up front, their big hitters up front. But then they just they just settle down. They're like, all right, we need to adapt. We need to play a little differently. We can't just keep going hammer and tongs and be 4 down in the 10th over.
Exactly. And I think that's the point. The point is not that you can't go hard up front. You have to go hard up front. That's what the game is. Perhaps you can pick and choose a couple of balls You don't need to go upfront hard on every ball. But the truth is that once you're 2 down, say, and you're 2 down in the first 5, then somebody has to make that adjustment and say that, okay, now we need to change our plans a little bit.
Yeah.
What they haven't done is they've decided we'll keep going hard because we now have 8 batters because, this is what the impact player sub does for you. But the fact of the matter is the 8 batsmen cannot, if you're 75 for 8 and even an established batter walks in at that point, it is very difficult to bat. It does not make that much of a material difference.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem. The problem is not going hard up front. It's being a bit more picky and choosy about the balls you go hard on. You can go hard on 4, maybe not on all 6.
Yeah.
And secondly, once you've lost a couple of wickets, are you doing a bit of correction in your head? And you're saying, okay, I don't need to go for 280. Can I now say that, okay, let me just scale this down a little bit?
I think Postman Pat, the captain, said that as well after the last loss. And I think the tune was a little different than after the 3rd game. So after the 4th game, he says we need to be realistic. 3 games in a row, it hasn't come off for us. We need to maybe look back and think whether we could have chosen better options. Our batters are best when they take the game on, but looking back, maybe we could have taken different options. What he's saying makes absolutely logical, practical sense. And we've seen teams do that. They're good enough to do it. I think KKR did that, right? There was one game where they were very cavalier and then another game where they kind of settled down. So their players are good enough to do it. So it has to just come from the captain going, all right, it's okay if we lose wickets up front, but then change it up.
Or let's just play the percentage shot. Let's not play the high risk shot first delivery that you're out there.
Yeah.
If it's there in your zone, absolutely, it should be put away. And as you get into your innings, if you feel that you need to move around, so he basically wants the same intent.
Yeah.
But it's the selection or the execution of shots that he's kind of saying, maybe let's not go there just yet. Let's not go into 6th gear. We can go into, instead of 1st to 6th, let's go maybe to 3rd, and then let's go maybe to 4th, and then we can get there. We're jumping. We're missing a few steps in between, and at the moment, it's not working. So players are trying to hit themselves into form.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily work.
Yeah, because it's not worked for them. They have lost their last 3 games after the famous 286 in their first game. And that means the answer to the question, how blue are Hyderabad's Blues? Pretty blue, man. Pretty blue. It's right at the bottom of the table. And their net run rate is way down in the Mariana Trench.
80-run defeat. 80 runs is a huge margin.
It's like an innings defeat, right? In a test.
It's a huge margin.
It's the equivalent. So today, it's not about them just needing to win big. I mean, first they just have to win. That's the first thing.
So first I have a theory.
Yes.
You know that the
Love
office
it.
of the Hyderabad office is also in Chennai. The Sun headquarters.
Head office of the Sun Group, yes.
Is in Chennai.
Yeah.
And it's just a few buildings away from the head office of the India Cements Group.
Which is CSK.
Which is CSK.
Okay.
Who don't seem to want to hit anything.
All right.
And these guys want to hit every ball.
Yeah.
Can they just go 50-50 and say, let's split it, let's split the difference. You guys hit a bit more and we'll just play a bit more carefully and let's sort it out between us.
You just want some wrongly delivered letters, right? It's just like, hey, these are, there you go, right? Just do that.
Yeah, just sort it out. Yeah.
Fair point. And I guess once you peel, fantastic joke, by the way, love it. Once you peel the humor of that away, it's a very practical suggestion, right? Which is that you need to have a plan that's kind of tempered. You can't just go in one gear because your game becomes really predictable for bowlers and team management now who have so much data. And if you're advertising what you're going to do, you're playing into the bowler's hand.
Absolutely. And on the other side, you have Chennai, whose worst situation is that before they are looking at winning matches, they're looking at saying, we don't want to lose by too many runs. So from the 11th over, they're playing at limiting the size of defeat. So you are looking at 2 attitudes which are the polar opposites. They're absolutely polar opposites. And I genuinely think these guys need to temper their attitude a bit. Those guys need to take a lot more risks.
Okay. Well, so here's the thing, right? On one side, there's Hyderabad Blues. On the other side, it's Gujarat shining. Because they're doing really well. That model's working really well over there. And today, they've won the toss. They've put Hyderabad into bat. So they're going to be bowling first. There's one change there. Right? Interesting to see that they've got Vashi Sundar in the team. So Washington Sundar is going to be playing. I'm just trying to have a look at who he's...
Yeah, that's what I'm also looking at.
He's So Arshad Khan
No,
is
no.
in. But Arshad Khan won't come because this is the bowling 11.
This is
This is the bowling 11.
so Arshad
they'll
Khan.
get a batter in later.
Yeah.
Remember, they've got only 2 overseas, so they can get anybody. They can get Shafin Rutherford. They can get Glenn Phillips as we want, but they're not going to do it
But
because
they're
they
going
don't
to
listen
go
to us.
Shafin, yeah.
Right? So they're only playing with the 2 overseas, which means that they can get either one of them in. I love the fact that they're playing with just 2 overseas. Right? If that means you've really focused on your Indian core and
It's called the Indian Premier League, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it gives you a lot of versatility. So, and I think we spoke about it because last time they had the same thing, right? So, depending on what the pitch is and what they need will be dependent. And they probably won't bring in their impact player until what in the second innings, what do we need right now? Do we need someone to go hard, really hard, or
they
do
can
we need...
really hold
They wait
that
till
batter.
really late,
Yeah,
don't
They
they?
can hold that batter till really late.
Yeah.
So you lose 2 wickets up front, Glenn Phillips walks in, you have a large run rate to chase.
That's
Shafin
what
walks
they've
in.
done actually, haven't they? They've done it in every
so
game.
they've been quite clever in that.
Yeah.
Whereas some pundits will say, hang on, well, you've got this guy sitting off and he's not even taking part, he's not getting a feel for the action. So bring him in, like we've seen Rohit come in like the last 1 or 2 overs.
Yeah.
But I actually like this because now you're actually using it wisely based on your situation from a batting point of view.
Yeah, it was used against them so well when Arshdeep signaled to get Vishak in. Do you remember against
absolutely,
Shafin Rutherford?
He made the signal.
Right,
Yeah.
he made the signal, said get him. What was that? I think the 14th or the 15th over. That late in their
And
bowling
he bowled
innings.
3 in a row,
And he bowled 3 in a row, bowled them for like 5 and 7 and over, and didn't give Shafin Rutherford anything.
Yeah.
So I think strategically that's really good. All right, we'll have a look at the Hyderabad team. There's some news that Harshal Patel is unavailable for this match. There's news coming in that he's at the hospital. I hope that everything is fine. Nothing else has been given. So Jaydev Unadkat is in the team in his place. This, of course, is their batting team. So they'll be getting another bowler to join in here. There's still no Zampa here, and they've got 4 overseas, so Zampa won't come.
He's not in the subs as well.
He's not there, so it's probably Simarjeet or Rahul Chair, depending on how they see the surface playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've backed Simarjeet with his pace because the guy's been quick. He's gone for a few runs, but he's been quick.
So who's been...
Simarjeet.
Yeah. I mean, they've got the options as well to have a look and see what the pitch does.
If the pitch does a bit, maybe Rahul Chair as a spinner can come in as well.
But the main thing is they've used so many of their overseas players, right? And the fact is that they still want to keep going with Travis Head because you just don't know when he's going to click, right? Because he's that type of guy. So there are some teams that have no idea what their best 11 is. And I get a sense that they're the same because Zampa, you think, when selected in the IPL, he's locked and loaded and he's playing every game, but he's not now. So it's interesting because of the balance of the side. They're trying to figure out, okay, what is our best 11? And where do our overseas, what gap are they filling? At the moment, there's too many gaps.
Yeah.
So they're trying everyone.
You know, it's the proverbial chicken and egg that we talk about in every season. Are the changes happening because of the losses, or are the losses happening because of the changes?
No, absolutely. I so agree with you. And see, that's the thing. I was just thinking about it. Had they got 2-3 wins in a row, you could bet your life Zampa would come in.
Yeah.
Because then they would have an attacking bowling option. Right now, because their batting has failed thrice in a row, they just don't have the courage to, not get another batter in. So Kamindu Mendes is playing because he's just another batter. He's giving them a little more insurance in the middle.
Yeah.
But that's the fact of the matter. He's not being picked because it's a defensive pick, not a aggressive
an attacking pick. It's interesting though because he's like a player and he's his own impact sub. Right?
Yeah. Left, right.
So the left
balls, bats, fields, probably flies off the field. That's what he wants.
Drives the team bus, cooks their dinner. Yeah. Just doing everything, right? So for Hyderabad, of course, there's trouble. They are batting first. Now, you see in a situation like this, do you think, so here's my question, do you think they would have liked to chase today?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Simply just so that they know a target. So then they can go, okay, they can start to break up that chase in small chunks instead of what is a good score. So, we heard in the pitch report that it's not the same as the last one where the 280 odd, it's going to be slower. So it's like, so is 180 going to be enough? Like, no one knows, right? So from their point of view, they've got this blueprint of they want to go hard.
Yeah.
I think this is a way to keep them unstuck in the head, basically.
Just thinking, Abhishek is an inexperienced player. He's young. Travis had far more experience, multi-format, played all over the world. Do you think then it falls on him to kind of just suss the surface out for an over, 2 overs, stick around, make sure captain should tell him you have to be there at the end of 2 overs. That's not much to ask.
That's not much to ask.
And kind of suss, because 180 and 280 is a humongous delta. You can drive a bus through that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this pitch has averaged 165. This pitch number 4. So the average score on this pitch is 165.
Okay.
So that's not going to change hugely, okay? But I remember, I keep talking about the Jacques Kallis, who used to be the senior player on the KKR team. The year we won, whenever he used to go into bat, okay, if he used to get out, coming out, or the first change that the gloves come out, he'd say, this is a 140 pitch, 160 pitch, 180 pitch. He'd say it immediately because, you need those guys to tell you, okay, what can be done in this pitch. And immediately the entire bench would readjust. Yeah. Okay, this is what a par total on this pitch looks like.
You know, the interesting thing is that they are using a pitch that is not, that proverbial high-scoring pitch that you get in Hyderabad. So it will be a slightly different game. But what I'm thinking is, today then could really be Rashid Khan's day. Because A, he knows this ground. He knows it really well, played so many seasons here.
Yeah.
And if you're giving a pitch that's slightly slower, that's like meat and bread for him, right? So maybe today's his day because the last few ones have not been.
Yeah. Ideally, he likes it when there's a bit of scoreboard pressure as well.
Yeah.
Right? So then they have to attack him. They have to go harder. It was funny because when he was playing for Hyderabad, I remember being in the gym and Murali Dhuran was there as well. And I think this was a while ago, and we were talking about Afghanistan getting test status. And I said, how will he actually go in test cricket? He goes, I think people will just sit on him.
Yeah.
Because he's not a big turner of the ball, but they'll sit on him because they can.
They don't need to take risks.
There's not the pressures that they have to go hard, whereas that's what he's been used to. And I think those pressures haven't really been there anymore. No one fears him just as much anymore. Whereas ideally, I think if this pitch is what we're saying it is, he would have loved to have done it in the second innings. But hopefully he gets a little purchase and he gets the ball turning and moving both ways just to put a little bit of doubt.
I'd also like him to come in early, especially...
Left-handers?
Left-handers, exactly my point. Because his record with left-handers versus right-handers has been pretty stark.
It's night and day.
Huge numbers.
You can drive a bus between those two, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking at. I mean, clearly there's something happening out here. And there has been a readjustment. Because if you look at his seasons, if you start from early up front, he was a prodigy. Okay, but he was also a banker. Look at that, 17 wickets, 21 wickets, 17, 20. Suddenly you come, firstly in 23, 27 wickets, but his economy rate has gone up. In 24, it's plummeted to 10 wickets. Okay, that's a serious number that's gone down. And this year, 3 matches is not a huge sample size, but he's not exactly setting the Satpura on fire. He's just, so there's something here. And, we were talking about this before, Lisa, that especially, he's not a mystery spinner, but he was a spinner who was difficult to read because he had, he used to come in very quick, not give you too much options. His googly used to be the one that... Now, when you're bowling like that as a spinner and most batters are playing you in a particular way, you need to go back and do something different. Sunil Narayan had to do it because he had to remodel his action, okay? Other bowlers, Varun Chakravarti every year goes and tries and figures out one other ball that he can try and do, and he does it regularly. Ashwin does it. Those who don't, Ajanta Mendes disappeared because he just didn't, once they adjusted, he didn't have another one in Zambri. And I'm wondering whether it's time for that Rashid Khan 2.0. And I'm sure he's just too good a cricketer not to do it, but we're not seeing it yet.
Yeah. Would you then, if you're, let's say if he comes to bowl in the power play, I don't know if it'll happen because sometimes bowls the 6th, but let's say the 2 left-handers are going, any of the top 3. He comes in, bowling his googlies, get 2 ahead a square on the offside, try to tempt them to hit it big over there. Yeah. Do you think that's tactically, do you see something like that happening?
Have 2 fielders out on the offside as well to protect. Yeah, what you'll probably see is the guys kind of reshuffle and try and go a little bit straighter, right? So only 2 fielders out and you're trying to shut down one, then it's too big a swing. And you're not even targeting the stumps. So it's a free swing to go across the line.
Yeah.
And if it goes outside the inner circle, job done, right?
Yeah, because Rashid's strength has been attacking the stumps.
Yeah.
So when he attacks the stumps, it's very difficult to cross-bat him. Okay, so you're only going to hit, and hitting a bowler like him consistently over his head is not easy. So that's what he's done successfully. I don't know whether he'll change that or not, because he has to attack stumps, and especially if he's bowling early, he has to.
Well, there's another bowling partner of his who has had no problems, and he's been doing really well. I'm talking about Prasidh Krishna. Now, Prasidh Krishna missed 2 seasons, then comes back in, gets a bit of a welcome in the first game from Punjab. They're like, hello, but I think there was about 2,000 runs scored in that game, so I think everybody went for runs. But then his comeback has been amazing, and the last game I loved, what was it? 3 overs, 10 runs? I think before he bowled the last over, I think he went for like, I think a dozen maybe.
In a meaningless, by that time the match
the game was
sorted.
done. And
Yeah, the game was done. I think he went for a dozen at the time.
Yeah.
But I love it. And he's bowling quick, he's bowling short, he's making batters uncomfortable, Lisa.
Yeah, what I've liked is how they've used him as well. So they've used him 11th over, then based on conditions, last game, let's get him up front. But we're starting to see a trend, and we spoke about this even with Mitch Starc as well, the lessons that he learnt from last year to this year. It looks like everyone's going shorter of a length early on, right? They're really trying to get that length right, where it's an uncomfortable length for the batters. Economy rate of 6.36 there when it's short, and 50 delivery. So it's a big amount of balls that he's bowling, and batters are really struggling. He also has that advantage, him and Mitch Starc. These are tall lads, right?
Yeah.
A little bit taller than you guys. You guys are tall. Everyone's taller than me. So it's fine.
No, but that's one. The second is, one is that he also can bowl at 140, 144.
Yeah.
So that he always had that, okay? So he could keep the ball here. So up front, you can't hit him because he's bowling at that pace and it's very difficult to hit him. And then later he's learned to bowl the off-cutters also at the same length. So slower bouncers, but they're coming because he has the height. They're coming at you at a very awkward height. So they're not fast enough, so you're not getting timing on it.
Yeah.
So he's doing that very well as well. So it's not just short and fast, it's sometimes short and slow as well. And I think that's the new wrinkle to his game that he's added, which is making it really tough. And I think he's had these 2 years to think about his bowling, work on it. He's looking a very complete package right now.
Yeah, I mean, even before the injury, I think 22 the season he played, Royals, 19 wickets, was one of the reasons they went to the finals. So this guy's good. So it's good to see him back in play, because fast bowlers and injuries, right? That's something that's part and parcel of their life, but it's good to see them. And he's in a good setup, because it's a good pack of wolves there, right? They've got Shami, they've got Prasidh Krishna, Kagiso Rabada, Ishant Sharma, Old Fox.
There's a lot of information for him to learn. I hope that he's taking full
Shami's
advantage
the other
of that.
Sorry, I think.
Yeah, there's no Shami, no. Shami used to be here. Now he's playing for the other team today.
But you almost want to ensure that he's spending time, whether it be at dinner, on the bus, randomly, just asking and picking up as much information as he possibly can against some people that have been there and done it for such a long period of time as well.
And I genuinely believe your friend Ashish is a fast bowler's coach.
Yeah.
He's a dream fast bowler's coach. He'll work with you. He's a cricket geek.
Yeah.
He'll spend time with you even when you don't want to talk. To keep talking to you about it. But he's just so good at it. So you're getting like 15 years, 20 years of packaged knowledge at you every day.
Yeah, and of course, there's Mohammad Siraj, and he's bowling against his own team. I mean, Hyderabad, he's at home now, and he's going to be bowling against them. So it's a nice wolf pack that they have of bowlers. But the guy who's really standing out in that wolf pack for me, it's not Rashid Khan, it's not the quicks, it's Sai Kishore. Sai Kishore with his funky hairdo, right? The mad scientist. I'm loving what we're seeing from him. Loving the little fight in him.
Yeah.
Just loving his bowling.
He's the captain of
Tamil Nadu.
He's captain team.
And successful.
Successful,
captain.
yeah. So, he's a real thinker. That's why the hair goes up, right? That's why your hair goes up all the time.
Sometimes.
You're a thinker, yeah.
Well played. Depends if I've taken a nap.
But, so he's always, when you're a skipper, you'll read the game a certain way, and he'll try and be one step ahead. Because that's what you need to do. Okay, so whilst this over's going on, I need to figure out who's going to bowl the next over or what's the situation of the game. So he is doing that with the ball in hand. And you can see that. It's quite evident that I know, I get a sense he's coming at me, he's going to do this. And he's clever enough with his skill to be able to execute it, but then to read it. And that's why he's being so successful this season. So I've loved seeing him because, I feel like whilst off spinners, you feel like they're a bit of a dying breed. You think the next one's going to be the left arm finger spinners, but they're showing that they can be just as successful.
They're going to be bowling first because Gujarat won the toss and have put Hyderabad into bat, and they'll of course be attacking that brittle batting lineup, that brittle lineup of giants. Is that even possible? Like an oxymoron, but that's what's happened, right? You can't judge them by reputation, you have to judge them by form. And the last 3 games, we have changed our tune from Ab Ki Baar 300 par to tempered it down like the US stock market to Ab Ki Baar 150 par. Like today, would they do that? Because that's what has happened. They're going there. I want to see just the last play I want to talk about before we kind of have a look at the teams again. Nitish Kumar Reddy. Because we saw him, I was there at the Boxing Day test, got 100. He's got it in him. He'll be disappointed with soft dismissals in the last few games.
Yeah. And exactly. See, my problem is actually not so much with Abhishek and Travis Head, to a certain extent. It's with the guys coming in at 4 and 5. Okay. Klaasen, him. Because you've lost 2 early wickets. Okay, now you're 14 for 2. Now play with a little bit more discrimination. That's what we are saying. Yeah. My point is not that you can't this thing. So when you're up front and you're 0 for 0, you're 5 for 0, whatever, still you have a chance of going. You haven't lost the wickets out there. Yeah. Because they are finally, 1 and 2 are basically attacking options. Okay. Yeah. 3 and 4 or even more than that, 4 and 5 are what we call reactive options. They have to react to where the game is.
Yeah. Great point. It's a very tricky position. Yeah. Batting at number 4.
Yeah. The easiest position is 1 and 2.
Yeah, because you just
go and you dictate how you want to play and the style of play, right? Yeah. But it's the 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. You literally, Nitish needs to be able to assess that, and he assessed it really well in the test, right? You can see that he's kind of got good starts there. That's when you need to go on as well.
Yeah, and there again, when you caught it deep mid-wicket, when you got it long on, you got it mid-on. So I think that's what we're talking about, is that we just a little more, man. Just a little more on the ground. Yeah. Just a little bit. Just get your team across because...
And I'll tell you, even the captain will not be so irritated by him getting out on 0 for 2 as he will be, because when he's set, now dictate. Now you're in a position, you've seen the...
Now be proactive.
Yeah. Now you call the game now. Because you've got 15 games and very few guys get 15 balls in a 120 over match. Very few guys get 15 balls to set their eyes. Yeah. Now you've got to make sure that you finish.
Well, it's interesting because Hyderabad is batting first. I did not want that for the score guesses because...
Don't know.
140, 280. I don't know anything in the middle of that. But first we have an even tougher thing, which is the joy factor question. Let's pull that up.
Yep. I forgot. Who joined this elite list of Indian batters in 2023? Suresh Raina, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma. And let me give you a hint. It's got to do with international cricket.
Hundreds in all formats?
I was just thinking of dinner.
I think it's an important thing.
Yeah. As soon as you say joy factor, I check out because there's no point. There's no point. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to get that right. Yeah. So what's the point? I may get the score guess right. Come on, I'm going to manifest it, man. Come on, I'm going to manifest it.
Go first.
1, 9, 3.
193.
177.
It's very good. You're going to win, I'm telling you.
Okay.
It's the 170s today.
Okay. Since it's back to the 70s, I'm going to say 206.
206.
It's back to the 70s. I'm going 206.
What? It's okay.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. Must be an old person's.
Yeah, I don't know. He's signing off like the Joy Factor question. You go like, what?
What? Huh?
Like,
Okay.
all right. We're going to see you at the end of the 10th over. 10th over? Why? Cricbuzz box. We'll be here for a little update then. Hyderabad batting first. You were watching Voltas FreshAir Coolers presents Cricbuzz Live, the weirdest show online. Bye.
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲೇ
Hyderabad Express, Station, Netaji Bhavan.